Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, Billy Joe Saunders has said that he is contemplating retirement after his first loss of his career to Canelo Alvarez. Now obviously that fight ended in a stoppage in the 8th round, or between rounds, because obviously he was stopped on his stool. So in this situation, he knows that he was good enough to compete with Canelo, just he didn't have what it took to stand up to the power. And that is the case with many fighters. I mean, it was a very good punch that landed, and Billy Joe Saunders even said when it landed he knew that it was a good shot. But he also said that he didn't quit. He didn't want to stop, he wanted it to continue. But it was Ben Davison who said, nope, that's enough, you're done. This fight is over. And that burden does often fall to the corner because the fighter will want to continue. But in that case, it was very dangerous for Billy Joe Saunders to go out for even one more round, because there is no telling what can happen. I mean, it's okay around world level, British level. I mean, even then it's still dangerous, but in there with an elite level fighter like Canelo, who is ranked pound for pound #1, you can kind of see what is going to happen if he goes out for one more round. The writing is on the wall, especially given that Canelo is very skillful at landing punches when his opponent least expects it. Then imagine the lead eye of that opponent is damaged as it was with Billy Joe Saunders. Then that is a recipe for disaster. So the right decision was made. Now, he spoke about the fact that he will be consulting with his father about the future of his career. And he also said that if his dad says leave it, then he probably will. So he's made a lot of money, he's been a world champion in 2 separate weight classes. So really, what does he need boxing for, unless he's going to try and go back and get a rematch with Canelo? Or maybe go for someone else in that super middleweight division. Can he go back down to middleweight? Maybe. Should he? No, absolutely not. The reason why I think that is because I believe that Billy Joe Saunders at times struggled to make middleweight. That was often when he wasn't taking it as seriously as he should, but still, he has struggled to make that weight in the past, and he's been at super middleweight for a while now, so going back down, I don't see that as a good thing for Billy Joe Saunders. I know that Chris Eubank Jr. has done it, but he didn't gain all that much weight going up to super middle, and he's always remained in good shape. But with Billy Joe Saunders, that's not necessarily the case. So I don't believe that going back down to middleweight is an option for Billy Joe. He could do it, it is possible, but it is often the case that you see a fighter slightly off the gas and not having that sharpness when they go back down in weight. It's a bit different going up. That can take other things away, or it can make a fighter become reinvented. It can change things completely if they were weight drained. But I'm just not keen on the idea of Billy Joe Saunders going back down to middleweight. And if he's going to stay at super middleweight and build his way back, he's likely going to cross paths with Canelo again, and it is just whether he believes that he can beat him. Does Canelo maybe drop down to middle himself? He's not a big super middleweight. Does he perhaps go up to light heavyweight? That is definitely possible, but you would have to believe that if Billy Joe Saunders tries to get back to winning ways and build back towards some kind of world title opportunity, at some point he's going to cross paths with Canelo again, and the question is, does he want to go through that, and does he believe that in a rematch he can beat him? Those are things that will come into it when making his decision on retirement. As I said, he's made a lot of money, he's been a 2-weight world champion, so he's probably achieved as much or maybe all of what he planned to when he started boxing. Obviously, having those world titles that Canelo holds, that was probably part of the plan as well, but still, he's been a world champion and he's earned a lot of money. So the big question is now, when talking about retirement, is what does he need boxing for? The answer to that question will determine what Billy Joe Saunders does next, whether he retires or whether he continues. Now, talking about the fight itself between him and Canelo, I do not believe that Billy Joe Saunders looked out of place in any way, shape or form. I believe he was actually up on the scorecards. I mean, I know he actually wasn't, but at that point, at the point of the stoppage, I would say that Billy Joe Saunders was winning the fight, it was close. and I do believe that he was coming into it. I think that he was getting better and getting stronger and having more success. Canelo was finding it a bit difficult to navigate Billy Joe Saunders at that point in the fight, but then he landed that punch and it changed everything. An elite level fighter is able to do that. When the tide is turning and it's on the side of Billy Joe Saunders, he was able to pull out that shot that turned it back his way. And as I said, that is what an elite level fighter is able to do. Billy Joe said that he felt his eye drop down and he felt like it was almost like his legs had gone, but then after a while he realised it was the eye that was actually injured, so he thought that he was stunned by the shot from Canelo, but it wasn't, because obviously in that situation with the adrenaline and the hype of the event, the fans as well, he's not really going to know what has just happened, but he knew it was a good shot and he knew that it had affected him. Ben Davison apparently had said in the corner the fight was over before he even sat down, so the writing was on the wall, although Billy Joe Saunders said he wanted to continue and did try to protest them stopping the fight, but at that point his best interest was in mind with the cornerman and the right decision was made. Because when he spoke about the extent of the injury, he said that he boxed for 1 minute and 20 seconds with a broken eye socket, a broken cheekbone in 3 places. 1 minute and 20 is alright when fighting an average man, but when you're fighting the best man on the planet, he could have easily opted out, but he didn't. So that is an interesting thing as well. If Billy Joe was going to quit himself, would he not have quit after the punch had landed? Would he have not taken a knee or something? He did go back to his corner, and that was when the decision was made. That does tell me that it wasn't a decision made by Billy Joe, but by his corner instead, because as I said, he wouldn't continue for a minute or so with that kind of injury if he had no intentions of continuing. He also said that he didn't understand the extent of the injury straight away. He didn't even know what it was. It was kind of disorientating, but you could see the reaction from Canelo. He knew that he had Billy Joe Saunders. He knew that that was the final shot, or that would lead to the final shot, because he knew that he had Billy Joe Saunders right where he wanted him. That was the shot he was looking for, and he landed it. It changed everything in the fight, especially when Billy Joe Saunders was really trying to capitalize on his success in the contest after starting quite slow, but building into the fight. So Billy Joe Saunders was starting to get on top, but Canelo ensured that that changed. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that Billy Joe Saunders will now retire, and do you believe that he should? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks, guys.